Chicago Cubs Central family, friends, fans, listeners. Listen, guys, are you guys hyped or what? The Chicago Cubs have officially added Edward Cabrera to the team as a part of the pitching rotation. I'm excited for that, but listen, it's rumored out there the Chicago Cubs ain't even still nowhere close to being done. We got more to talk about, and today we're going to focus on finding value on the free agent market with power. Let's talk about it. Welcome in, Chicago Cubs Central viewers, listeners, friends. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are all having an amazing week. And of course, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Chicago Cubs Central. If this is your first time watching, listen, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Also, if you are a repeat offender, if you come here often, hey, thank you. Welcome home. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Please make sure you guys already know what to do. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you share this pod with your friends, as well as make sure you get in those comments below and tell me your thoughts on today's topic. So, as we are in our off season, a couple of things. I want to make an announcement again. If this is your first time watching, or if you just don't remember from last episode, if you're interested in being a part of the listener appreciation episode each week, I'm going to do an episode with a listener of the pod, whether that be somebody from Spotify, whether that be somebody from Apple, whether that be somebody from YouTube, whether that be somebody from Twitch, or that be somebody from X. So if you are viewing this podcast, wherever you're viewing it from, first and foremost, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Secondly, if you want to come on the show and be a part of this show, I enjoyed having my friend Rich Mercer on the show last week, earlier this week, and literally, I already have other guests lined up for the coming weeks. But if you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast here on YouTube, and then make sure that you hit me up at either 217-816-5498, or you can hit me up at Chicago Cubs Baseball 1992 at gmail.com. Either or, you hit your boy up and we'll get something worked out, man. I would love, this is my way of just giving back to you guys who have been so good to me. I've had to rebuild this channel up after losing it at the beginning of the year, and we closed out 2025 so strong and are opening up 2026 fast and running. And I just appreciate each and every last one of you. So if you want to be a part of the listener viewer appreciation episode, you want to be a guest host on Chicago Cubs Central this winter, listen, all you got to do is hit your boy up and we're going to have a good time on the pod. Now, with that being said, the Chicago Cubs obviously added Edward Cabrera to the team, and they've already made noise this offseason, but a big question still remains. Can Chicago add another veteran bat to boost this lineup, or even something to come off the bench to give the Chicago Cubs more firepower? Now, I know it's understood that we just believe the Chicago Cubs are going to have Kevin Alcantara coming off the bench. Chicago Cubs are going to have other pieces like that coming off the bench. However, you still need a veteran presence to boost up this lineup, somebody that can come in and that can do damage power-wise. Again, think of what we sought out Justin Turner for last season, that he gave in spurts but wasn't able to give every single time out. Now, agreed, already we know that Michael Busch is going to see a lot more playing time at first base. He will be the everyday first baseman for the Chicago Cubs, barring injury. However, the Chicago Cubs should still look to add on more power off the bench. And I have a couple of options today for you as far as power off the bench that the Chicago Cubs have been rumored to be considering. There is, like I said, guys on the market, and I want to talk about Rhys Hoskins, Marcell Ozuna, and Miguel Andujar, today as our main topics of guys that could come add some type of presence to the Chicago Cubs and what they will bring to the North Side should the Chicago Cubs do a deal with them. So let's start out first and foremost, Rhys Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins spent the 25 season with the Milwaukee Brewers, appearing in 90 games. He slashed 237, 332, and 416 with 12 home runs and 43 RBIs in that time. After the season, the Brewers declined his mutual option, making him a free agent. So, what is it to Rhys Hoskins? Well, Rhys Hoskins was unable to be healthy throughout majority of the season, and then the the Chicago White Sox ended up trading Andrew Vaughn to the Milwaukee Brewers, who for some reason became, Anthony Rizzo reborn for the Brewers during his tenure there, and they had no need for Rhys Hoskins, who just was not able to continue his dominance at first base. He was somebody that the team was very high on. They got him from Philly. They wanted him. He did a lot more damage on Philly than he did with the Brewers. But at the same time, this guy is still somebody that you could see coming off the bench for the Chicago Cubs. He offers a veteran right-handed bat who can bat at first base or DH and can give the Cubs some lineup balance. If the Cubs want to pair him with the lefty heavy hitters, he's a strong low-risk option with upside on a short-term deal. So again, a 1-year deal, somebody to come off the bench for you, somebody to add some power. He has a big right-handed presence. Fan projections and early models peg Hoskins as a serviceable 1-year bat with around 17 home runs and a 3.8 OBP if he gets regular playing time. He's still capable of providing a middle of the order presence with some power, and also he is great at drawing walks. So he's somebody that can also help load up the bases for your power hitters. Rhys Hoskins is a low risk, high reward option for the Chicago Cubs on a 1-year deal. Somebody that they can potentially just bring in. Like I said, he probably won't play every day, but he can come in and give you another look. Let's say Michael Busch comes into this season and he's struggling. Well, then you can put in somebody like a Rhys Hoskins that can give Michael Busch a day of rest or something like that, and you're still going to get pretty good defense at first base, as well as somebody that can also slash numbers for you too. I think Rhys Hoskins, like I said, is an option the Chicago Cubs should absolutely look at. He can come cheap to the team. And then, like I said, at the same time, he is somebody that is low risk, high reward for the team. All right. Next up, we got Marcell Ozuna. So this guy here is a proven big bat with power. I love how the first two people I'm talking about at one point in their careers were considered Cub killers. Marcell Ozuna has done it to the Cubs, not only with the Atlanta Braves more recently, but also back when he was playing for the St. Louis Cardinals. Ozuna spent the full 2025 season with the Atlanta Braves, playing in 145 games and posting a 232, 355, and 400 slash line with 21 home runs and 68 RBIs. So his 2026 projections, analysts expect Ozuna to draw 1-year offers in around the $10 million to $16 million range, projecting similar power output of a 21-25 home run hitter with a solid on-base skills and situational RBI upside. Why do I like Ozuna? I like Ozuna a lot because there were times where guys were struggling for the Chicago Cubs. So you have somebody like a Ian Happ that has struggled mightily during slumps in the season for the Chicago Cubs. You can then give him a day or two off and put in somebody like a Marcell Ozuna who can offer you the same power. I mean, literally the same home run output. He can't do for you out in left field what Ian Happ can do for you. He's not that type of player anymore. But at the same time, he is still serviceable out there. But at the same time, he still offers you a DH at bat sometimes. And he is somebody that is able to be a veteran presence that has been to the dance, that has done multiple things in his career and has had many, many big games. So Ozuna is a veteran slugger archetype, strong veteran bat, middle of the order thrust, and a potential DH if he's not playing the field every day. His track record gives teams confidence he can still produce even if age and park factors dip his overall numbers. So again, he is another low risk, high reward type of guy, a 1-year deal. He's looking at probably somewhere around the $10 to $16 million range. This is definitely somebody that Jed Hoyer and the guys should look at. Again, if the Chicago Cubs strike out on getting another big power AB, you may turn to somebody like a Marcell Ozuna as a everyday DH for you if Seiya Suzuki is going to play right field. And again, he is somebody that can give you the power. Last but not least, Miguel Andujar is a sleeper bat option. So Andujar split 2025 between the Oakland Athletics and the Cincinnati Reds, finishing the season with a combined stat line of a 318 batting average with 10 home runs and 44 RBIs, bringing back a high average with situational power and limited work. So again, this guy is your prototypical bench piece. He is somebody that has a high batting average, does have some home run power, also can drive in RBIs. He played on two teams that weren't necessarily winning or in it for anything last season. Would love to see what he could do on a team that actually does care about winning and is actually trying to actively win. The 2026 projections for him see Andujar as a flexible offensive piece around 271, 311, 406 slash line with 9 to 11 home runs and a regular role. This dude is not a pure slugger like Ozuna, but an efficient contact bat with some pop and platoon versatility. He can play third base, he can play outfield, and he could DH for you. And this, again, is something that should be very appealing to the Chicago Cubs, especially if they want offensive depth and a bat that can complement the lineup without commanding a big contract. This guy here brings you an opportunity to land just that for the Chicago Cubs this season. So, again, he has a lot of upside on him still. Each one of these bats offer a different type of veteran impact. And depending on Chicago's budget and desire for power versus depth, Hoskins or Ozuna could be the big bat splash that the Cubs have coming off the bench. I want the Chicago Cubs to go out and to actively seek as much power and as much offense as possible. Why? Because throughout the season, the Chicago Cubs continuously struggle from time to time. There are slumps. Guys go on slumps. There's times where Dansby can't hit the ball. There's times where Ian Happ can't hit the ball. There's times where PCA can't hit the ball. What you want to try to do is navigate team struggles where you have the whole team basically struggling at once, because that's when you start stringing together multiple losses. And you just can't have that. You have a very, very good starting pitching core. You are putting together what I believe it will be a very good bullpen. So with that being said, the Chicago Cubs need to have some guys off the bench that they know can come in and be instant offense for this team. They can sub them in. They can drive in runs. They can do what they need to do to help the Chicago Cubs win as many games as possible. Now, albeit Justin Turner did that for the Chicago Cubs in limited action. I would love, out of these three guys, I would love for the Chicago Cubs to go make a deal for Marcell Ozuna. I think that reaching a contract with him would help the Chicago Cubs solidify somebody that can come off the bench, that can be a DH, that can play left field if you need him to at last cost. Or, like I said, just a veteran piece that can come onto this team and do good damage for the Chicago Cubs. It would just make a lot of sense for the Chicago Cubs to look for somebody like that. So as the Cubs continue their mission to complete their 2026 team, adding another veteran presence offensively could be the missing piece for depth and clutch performance, whether it's Hoskins' right-handed pop, Ozuna's track record of power, or Andujar's contact skills. There's a legitimate case for each one of these guys, and we'll be watching how the Chicago Cubs play their cards. But I need to know from you, out of those three guys, if you had to choose, which one of those three guys would you want the Chicago Cubs to sign? Hoskins, Ozuna, or Andujar? Let me know your comments and your thoughts below. Once again, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central on your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, as well as get in the comments section and let me know your thoughts. Let your voice be heard. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.